Cloudflare has released an AI Agents SDK. It's durable objects, but with superpowers. This makes building agents much easier as it handles the complex parts for you, like persisting state, handling long-running tasks, and even horizontal scaling. This is just the beginning too. The roadmap talks of adding better integration with email APIs for more human-in-the-loop use cases, using WebRTC for voice and video, a built-in evaluation framework, and even the ability to self-host agents on your own infrastructure. This all sounds awesome. Maybe they'll even add an agent that gets you to hit that subscribe button. Let's jump straight into the demo. Now this is using the Agents SDK starter. I'll leave links to it below. The demo is a chatbot, but do keep in mind this isn't the only thing that agents are for. You can use agents anywhere you can code. It could even be an agent calling another agent. Chat is obviously just a great way to demo and develop these. Now I think the Agents SDK is best showcased with the schedule task feature. So if I go ahead and ask this in 10 seconds, tell me about BetterStack and hit enter, you can see that it's going to go ahead and respond saying it's scheduled that task. But this isn't just local now. I can go ahead and refresh this page. I could shut down the dev server and I can come back and it will still perform this action. This is because it's an agent instance on a durable object. It can sleep for minutes, hours, and days. And there you go, after 10 seconds, you can see it's telling me about what BetterStack is. This agent instance and durable object is also what allows me to open this up in another browser and have it synced. This even works when you need a human in the loop. So if I ask it what the weather is in London, it has a weather tool. You can see that it needs me to approve calling this tool. But you can see it was synced over there in the Chrome browser as well. Now I can go ahead and refresh this page several times, and I'm always going to get back to whether it wants my approval for that get weather information. I can go ahead and hit approve here. And again, you can see it's syncing up nicely. So it would happily wait minutes, hours, or days for me to approve that task, thanks to it being a durable object. As someone who has built this out in other apps, it's insane how easy this is. I ran the starter and now I've got all of this infrastructure. We're getting stateful serverless thanks to this being built on those durable objects. So let's take a look at the code behind this. Starting out in the React code, you can see that we connect to an agent with the ID of chat. Now the use agent hook is coming from the SDK. This manages the WebSocket connection for you, which is super nice. I've also seen mentions that other frameworks will be supported soon. So for this app, it's a single shared agent. This is why the browsers were synced. You can also use agent routing, so you could set up an agent per user or even an agent per workflow, so you could use the user's ID as the agent ID. So you can have millions of agents without even needing to think about the infrastructure. The agent state is actually stored in a SQL database within each instance, which you can then interact with. We can see this better in this demo here. As you can see, I can increment this counter, I can change the text input and the color picker, and it's syncing between my two browsers, and it will even handle things like reconnecting. This is super easy to do thanks to that SQL database. As you can see with our use agent hook here, all I'd need to do is have an onState update method, so when we receive any state updates from the agent, and then we can tie this back into our React code by just saying setSyncState, which is our use state hook. Then if we want to go ahead and actually update that database or update the agent state, all we need to do is call agent.setState, and this is actually a higher level API around the SQL itself. You can use agent.sql, but it is recommended to use the setState one. It's awesome how easy it makes this infrastructure. This will really help you build things like real-time features, multi-window, or even multi-device syncing. The SQL database can even be great for the user history and adding that back into the context of a chat. Back to exploring the starter code though, the server.ts is where the agent itself is actually created. You can see in this case, we're using AI Chat Agent. This is just an extension of the base agent class that adds in chat capabilities. So you don't need this if you're not doing something chat-like, you would just use the base agent class. Now we go ahead and create an agent by extending this. You can see down here, we have a chat agent and that extends AI Chat Agent. Then in here, we can handle things like on chat message. Now, what I really love about this is that it works with tons of AI models as long as they support the OpenAI API schema. But more specifically, I love that it's working with the AI SDK, which in my opinion is the best way to do anything with AI in JavaScript. A cool thing you can do though, if you use the Cloudflare Workers AI, is you can do model routing. This actually allows you to route requests to different AI models based on whether they're reachable, rate limiting your client, or if you've exceeded your cost budget for a specific provider, which let's face it, it's probably going to be Claude. I'll leave links to the documentation that goes through that. The next important part is the tools file. This is where we add in our capabilities. Again, we're actually defining tools in here using the AI SDK, which is super cool. Now, one thing we did see earlier in our demo is when I asked it for the weather in London, it needed human in the loop. So it asked me for approval before running the function. To do that, all you need to do on your tool call is actually emit the execute function. So you can see down here on the get local time one, we do have an execute function. This means this will run automatically once I ask it for the local time in a certain location. Now, what's the function that's actually run then when we get the weather information? For that, you go to the bottom of this file and there's an executions object, and this is the function that's actually run once the user approves that tool call. They're obviously quite basic tools, so the schedule tool is where we see some of the features of the Agents SDK. If I scroll up here on our schedule task tool, you can see that we take in a type which can be scheduled. This is if it's a specific date and time. It can be delayed. That's when I say something like in 10 seconds. And then it can also be a cron expression as well. Then in the execute, we need to go ahead and get the agent context. Once we've got the agent context, we can call the schedule method on our agent. This will take in either a date, it will take in a cron expression, or the time to wait in seconds. Then it takes in the callback function, so this is the method that should be called after that specific time frame. And then we can also pass through payload data to the actual method. Now, the execute task method is defined in our server.ts. We define this on our agent itself, so where we have that chat extends AI chat agent. After we have the on-chat message, we also have this execute task. And again, you can see that we can take through a description, and this is what's passed through with that payload. So once this runs after our schedule, essentially all this one is doing is acting as the user. When I said, tell me about BetterStack in 10 seconds, after 10 seconds, it went ahead and inserted a message into the chat history that essentially acted as the user and said, tell me about BetterStack. So that's how that feature worked. So it's a simple but powerful feature. It's why I love LLMs. It would be so hard to take in that text in plain English, then convert it to either dates, delays, or repeating timeframes without the use of LLMs. It's all about taking in that unstructured data, making it structured, or even being able to do the reverse. There's so much power to be unlocked here with the SDK. There's even examples of RAG and browsing the web on their documentation, so be sure to check that out. Plus, there's even official Hono middleware, which is super cool to see. I'm super excited to see what will be built on this. I love the idea of a personal assistant that will follow you around wherever you are, so I can give it a task on my computer, like book some flights, and maybe when I'm out and about, it sends me an email, and I can even respond to it if it needs more information. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, subscribe, and as always, see you in the next one.